What's up, Soap Suds? Welcome back to a very special episode of the Geek Soapbox. As always, I'm your host, Lee Ponton. I'm joined by my co-host,
Leva Bates!
And our very special guest,
Kelly Z!
Yeah! Why is today very special? Because we're throwing it back. We're posting this video on a Wednesday, which is where we used to air this show.
Oh, that's true.
This show, we used to post it every Wednesday. And now we're posting it on Wednesday again. Why? Because today is not just any Wednesday.
Not.
Today is October 21st, 2015. Huh! Great Scott! Marty!
What? Hi. There you are.
Today is the day that Doc and Marty arrived in the future. So we thought today we would celebrate Back to the Future, talk about the movies, the franchise, and just see where the conversation leads us in this very special time-traveling episode. It's a Wednesday. That's a different franchise.
I know.
So earlier this week, Robert Zemeckis had this quote, and I thought it would be a good jumping off point. Sadly, I don't think anyone would make that film today. I don't think the audience would understand it or have the interest in seeing that movie. I mean, a lot of people would, but it would never become the #1 box office hit of the year. One of the things that's unique about Back to the Future is that back in the days when we had video rental stores, they never knew what shelf to put it on. They didn't know if it was a comedy, or should it be in the science fiction section, or the period movie section. They didn't know where to put it, and that's what makes it unique, and what gives it such longevity. But it's very difficult for audiences nowadays to spend their money to see something if they don't already know exactly what it's going to be ahead of time. What are your thoughts?
Whoa. That's
That
heavy.
about the video rental stores is definitely true, because when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Back to the Future, and I would always try to go rent it every Wednesday, actually, with my dad. But I could never, depending on what video store we went to, I could never find what section it was in, because it was always in a different section. Sometimes it was in comedy, sometimes it was in adventure, sci-fi, action comedy, they really didn't know where to put it.
I would put it in adventure. Because then I think that encompasses everything.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a comedy, but it's also sort of a drama at the same time.
There's comedic elements in it, but I wouldn't consider it a comedy. I would say it's action or adventure with comedy and sci-fi elements.
But where does it go in the movie store?
In the adventure section.
But you just said it's sci-fi too. Does it
But
go
it
there?
has elements of sci-fi. It's
The
like
whole
other movies.
thing is predicated on the
Princess
sci-fi.
Bride. Princess Bride is
Sure.
another good example of that. That they didn't know what a category. I actually read that in his book. He was like, they didn't know if they should market it to be like a romantic thing, a children's movie, a comedy, adventure.
That's 80s too, though, right?
Huh?
Were the lines a lot more blurred in the 80s? Was that a very 80s sensibility?
Look at the Goonies. Is Goonies comedy? Is Goonies a funny film? Is Goonies an adventure? Is Goonies a pirate
true.
movie? I mean,
Yes.
Definitely.
I think that was what made the 80s so great. They took a bunch of elements and went,
Here's this crazy
Yeah.
movie.
and I think that's why I think Avengers is so popular and Marvel movies are so popular, because they're doing the same thing nowadays. How much comedy does Joss write into the Avengers? It's buddy movie, it's also comic book movie, it's adventure movie, it's sci-fi.
Now more so, there's even drama elements in there. The whole Bruce Banner Black Widow thing, that's very dramatic. So yeah, maybe saying that film wouldn't work today
I don't
might
agree
be
with
a little brash.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like audiences are ready for films like that again, maybe.
Maybe for a
that's
while
what
they
we
weren't.
need.
Yeah.
And maybe we're coming back around, there's a return to that now.
I don't know. I just think if your mind is that small and that closed, that you're like, well, it only has to be comedy or it only has to be sci-fi, and then this movie isn't for you anyway. Get out. The most popular movies I feel like are a combination of things.
I mean, at this time of year especially, one of my favorite things to watch is a horror comedy.
Right.
And I think that's done really well. And those are two completely different elements thrown together. So I don't know. I think it could work. But I don't know if he's also going off the point of, well, it's 2015, so if we were to take that same premise, he'd be traveling back to 1985, would be our 1955, it would now be 1985, and we'd be traveling forward to, what would it be, 2045? I don't know if he's thinking more along the lines of it wouldn't work because of those elements. Like, he wanted to take the nostalgia of the 50s. But, I mean, the 80s were iconic, too, so I feel
It's
like
true.
traveling back there would be just as fun.
Every element, like the Marty McFly, the Doc, the everything, like just all of it, the DeLorean, it was just
So it's lightning in a bottle.
yeah. So
You're going to be
I mean,
hard pressed to recapture that same magic.
Exactly.
And maybe that's what he means. You know, like,
Yeah.
are you going to be able to have lightning strike twice?
I hope for our sake they don't try to remake it because I know they're remaking everything right
It's
now.
true. But I do like the premise of traveling back to the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Who would you cast in a remake? If you had to cast a Marty and a Doc
Oh, God.
today.
All right, you know who kind of looks like him? I mean, not completely, and I think you would get like the whole he's hot, or girls would think he's hot, so you get like the whole teen girl thing going on. Zac Efron.
I was just thinking him.
Ah, get out
I
of
was
my brain.
actually just thinking
No,
about Zac
but I
Efron.
think he's gotten too old. Like, I feel like...
He still looks young. He's probably the same age, I bet you, as Michael J. Fox was. So, Michael J. Fox, here we go. He was
That would be
born in
awesome.
61.
61.
So, when they made the
So-
movie was, when did they make the movie? 85?
85.
So, he was 24.
Yeah.
Okay, Zac Efron, born in 87.
So he's like 28 now?
But look at that
Yeah.
face. Look how young he
Yeah.
is.
No, that
Yeah,
would
but how
work.
old is that picture?
I think
All right,
Zac
here,
Efron
current
still looks
picture
young.
of him. 10 and 15.
He looks young
I
enough.
don't know. But do you don't think we could find somebody younger?
We could.
Who is younger that would fit?
I don't know. I don't really know a lot of the
Colton
young
Hayes.
actors. Maybe.
What about Doc, though?
Who could play Doc Brown now? Is this sacrilegious, like us talking about this?
Oh no.
I feel almost wrong.
I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't he just play it?
Recasting
Doc's
Back to
supposed
the
to be old
Future.
anyway.
Michael J. Fox as Doc Brown.
Why
I
not keep him?
Christopher Lloyd?
Yeah.
If it was like a reboot, like The Next Karate Kid, you could still have Christopher Lloyd as Doc.
Yeah.
And it was just somebody else, like
Oh,
Zac
like-
Efron, wouldn't be playing Marty McFly. It
Right.
would just be,
Somebody else that's...
has to travel to the 80s.
Like a cousin.
Does he have to be
Sean
related?
McFly.
I feel like that's where
Sean
I feel like that's where we get in trouble. Maybe the only character that has to relate is Doc Brown.
I never saw
bring
that movie.
back Thomas F. Wilson, though, as Biff, because I feel like
Yes.
he has to show up somewhere.
Perfect.
Maybe like Biff's son.
Biff Jr.
Son of Biff. Who would be a son of Biff?
Son of Biff.
Who's a jerk? Who's a good
Like,
jerk?
Could, like, Seth Rogen pull it off?
Jack Black.
Maybe.
He's a good
Jack
jerk.
Black.
He's a good jerk. I like him as a jerk. I don't know, I feel like we need to go younger with son of Biff.
Would it be son of Biff or like grandson? It would be grandson of Biff.
It was Biff and Griff. We need, like, another rhyme.
Griff. Riff.
Like,
Riff?
Riff.
Like riff raff? Riff?
Riff.
Riff. Stiff.
No.
Lift.
That sounds
Miff.
like it's Norwegian.
Miff. Miff.
Niff. And his middle name is T.
Nifty Tannen.
Oh my god, that's amazing!
This is the worst.
We've really gone off. So
I did
stay tuned for our screenplay of Back to the Future.
The Future
Zac
Part 4. Starring Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, Zac Efron as Seth McFly.
Sean.
Oh, Sean
Sean
McFly.
Because they're Irish. You gotta have
Yeah.
We haven't cast
Oh, we didn't
Biff
cast
yet.
Nifty Tannen.
You said Justin Bieber? Oh my god. Why not?
Justin Bieber as Nifty Tannen.
But as far as Back to the Future and the whole series go, the 3 movies, I feel like time travel was really well done in those movies. And especially in the second movie when they have the scene where Doc kind of explains the whole timeline and how they came up with the alternate timeline. Like that, I think if anyone was confused at that point, that perfectly explained it. So I think the time travel aspect of those movies is pretty solid.
You know what I loved? And it still, like, it haunted me, but didn't haunt me. Like, I really loved the picture where they start fading in
Oh,
the picture.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
love
awesome.
that. And, like, he actually starts fading. That's some high special effects back in, like, 85, man. Anytime I think of time travel and, like, the butterfly effect or anything changes, I always think, well, there goes, like, fading of the pictures
Yeah.
and stuff. Pictures changing.
Yeah, it's totally
Like, I always think
it's
that's,
an
like, it's because
iconic
of that
image.
movie. Alright, since you're like, I love these movies, what is your take on 3?
That's the one I've seen the least, but
Me too.
I do really,
Yeah.
I do like it. But 1 and 2, I think I've seen
Because they're connected
like,
with each other.
Yeah,
As opposed to 3 is kind of like its own Then they add Western to that genre. Now do we put it in Western or
exactly.
do we...
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
No,
Add the
I
confusion to
love the McFly family. Like, I think they're so adorable, and I love them so much. Bright red hair.
No, I like that movie so much that, and I was telling him the story earlier, when it came out in 1985, there was a drive-in movie theater that was playing Back to the Future on one side and Clue on the other side. And my family took me to see Back to the Future, and I loved it so much. And the next week, we went to go see Clue, so our car was facing the other direction, but I was in the back seat looking out the back window, watching Back to the Future again with no sound, even though no dissing on Clue, because that's an amazing movie, too.
But you were a kid, you didn't...
Yeah, so even with no sound, I was obsessed with seeing it and watching it again.
These movies are great. I mean, they're classics, and they will stand the test of time. So despite Robert Zemeckis saying this movie will never get made today, I feel like even the new generations, when they see this movie, it still has an impact on them.
I would like to think so. I hope so, at least.
Maybe it won't get made today, but we don't need to.
We don't need to make it. It's already been made.
It's already been made. That's the beauty of it.
They went back in time and made it.
It doesn't matter whether they would make it today or not. They made it already. And we have it, and we will have it forever. In the comments below, if they were going to do a reboot, remake, who would you cast?
What are some of your favorite points of the movie? Favorite lines? What are the things that stood out to you? And what are the things that are now, inventions that are now exist, do you think were influenced by this movie?
I would like comments on other time travel movies that you enjoy, because we might continue this conversation at another time.
Definitely. So, thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to click that like button, you guys. Let us know you like this video. We'll keep making the Geek Soapbox.
And make sure you share it with all of your friends.
And subscribe to the channel. Duh.
So you'll be the first to know when we have more videos like this.
Just like this. We'll see you in the future, you guys. Bye.
Where we're going, we don't need those.
Game over.